Good morning, everyone. We are very excited to have all of you today here on this Saturday morning, and we're excited that you have decided to spend this morning today with us. I am Shubhangi Mishra from the Branding and Communications team, and I welcome you to the Interior Design webinar with IIAD Academy. At IIAD Academy, our motto is to make design education accessible, affordable, and industry relevant. And to this end, we begin with this webinar. I would like to begin with an introduction about IIAD Academy. IIAD is an online career transformation platform with design courses that promote active, interactive learning with an industry-focused curriculum and expert mentorship. This webinar will be led by our interior design course lead, Rahat Verma. Rahat is an architect, a design educator, and a writer in architecture, interiors, and urbanism. She has a master's in architecture from the University of Calgary, Canada. Rahat comes with over a decade's experience in working on spatial design. Currently, she is a PhD scholar at the Sushant School of Architecture in Gurgaon. Over the years, she has established a keen research in social design and urban sociology. We're also joined by two of our IIAD learners today who will be taking us through their work, Akriti Sharma and Jaladhi Shah. I would request Rahat to take over and begin with the webinar.
All right, thank you so much, Shubhangi. And thank you so much for joining us. You know, it's a lovely Saturday afternoon, at least in Delhi, it's nice and sunny today. So yes, I do understand that you've taken the time out. We are here with Akriti and Jaladhi. These are two IIAD learners from batch 1, and they're almost about to graduate. So we'll get to see a lot of work that they've done so far. You know, Akriti is this constant hustler. If I have to paint you a picture and give you a persona, then she's this constant hustler, very keen learner. She's also a production designer. And then we have Jaladhi, who has this great sense of inquiry and chooses to question everything you tell her. But then I'm guessing towards the end of her work, you always see that come out really beautifully, like all her questioning finds reason finally. I'm now going to, the slide pulled up in front of you discusses what we're going to discuss today in our webinar. So we're going to talk about interior design in general. We're going to talk about the course overview and the industry opportunities you can expect after you graduate or after you finish your degree or certificate course with us. We'll also get the opportunity to actually see work done by Akriti and Jaladhi as they'll walk us through their work, and then we'll open up for a couple of questions. Now, this is, a very interesting question I have gotten very often, that what exactly is interior design? And the most safe way we've been taught to answer this question is go to a dictionary and find what it, officially means. It is basically the art and practice of planning or supervising design on an architectural site, which means, from planning of interiors to planning of furniture, of furnishes, all of this. So this is what an interior designer will get to do. And how do they do this? They do this by visualizing, planning for space, designing interiors. Will also include a lot of ideation, experimentation. You will get to basically transform space. It's like an interface between how man uses his interior space, and you get to design things for comfort for them. Of course, a big cliche, it has to be aesthetically pleasing while being functional. And this is something you'll only get to know more once you start practicing in the field. Now, there are three terms that we get, thrown around a lot, which is interior design, interior styling, and interior decoration. It is very important that we understand the difference between each. And the best way to do that is I have actually just chosen to put all three, on the same slide so we understand them better. So interior design is essentially the art and the science behind understanding people behavior and create functional spaces, which means I need to understand what people, how people behave in space, what do they need from space? And then we get to look at how will we design the interface, but essentially. Now, styling more about, morely deals with aesthetically, like really bringing up place up to speed. It doesn't kind of deal with changing the core structure of your building or your space that you're working with. So they're almost like minimum subtractions, but a lot of additions. It's like trying to style something up. Now, interior decoration technically means, you just kind of start sourcing material or elements, and you start decorating a space. It's literally like decorating a Christmas tree where you have these ornaments available and then you start putting them on. And this is how the three things kind of differ from each other. Now, it is important to understand a designer can style and decorate, but a stylist cannot design, or a decorator cannot style, because they're very different things. What is really interesting is that we start looking, like when we talk about styling, a lot of things we get to hear is that it is all about dressing a room, and it's about choosing upholstery or making the interiors, playing with material to bring up the interiors. Now, what an architect does is basically he designs the outer shell, and within this outer shell, these three professionals come in and start beautifying or making the building more and more functional. Another question we get asked a lot is, what kind of projects can an interior designer work on? And this is actually, again, anything to do with interior spaces, to, from selection of decoratives, selecting furniture, selecting lighting and material. All of this can be taken up by an interior designer. But let's just start looking at the project or the typologies we can do. So we've understood that you guys get to design the functional aspect of spaces to make them feel safe. Now let's look at the typologies within which you guys can practice. The first is going to be home interiors, or the residential type of projects. The next being a cafe or a restaurant. Especially after COVID, the hospitality industry is also on a big boom. So we'll see a lot of these kind of projects also you might find your way into. Of course, office space and co-working space is another very big thing. And especially with the workspaces become more and more agile, this makes it very interesting. Retail. These pop-up stores, I'm sure a lot of you must have noticed, they happen a lot in our malls, in our, where you just, in the central atrium, they build up this temporary structure. And this is something you guys can also design as well. You can actually even go ahead and start working on store window displays. Like a lot of these top brands do give us this opportunity to work with their window displays as well. There is a new, kind of retail coming up, which is with the e-commerce side of things. And this is called design aided sales, which means for companies like IKEA, where you just measure out a room and then you take it to them, and then they'll kind of tell you what kind of furniture you can use in every corner of it, and you can actually purchase a room. It's almost like you buy off a whole room or a mood setting for this. Now, this is not only for a brand like IKEA, but also for hardware and like materials. So Jaguar is another leading partner in the industry that does this. We'll see a lot of, when Pottery Barn came to India and like home decor, home leaf, this is another typology where you can go and buy corners for a home or an entire dining table, drawing setting. And for all of this, they need interior designers to do the setups. Also, of course, for brands like, when you're looking at fixtures, so you'll have a Kajaria or something like that come up, and they will try and help you recognize what tiles can work with each other. This is, again, can be done by an interior designer. While we've told you what all interior designer can do, it is very important we understand what we cannot do as well. And for that, it is, I just like to point out that we cannot go ahead and start breaking the structural integrity of any building, which means, we shouldn't be knocking down columns or cutting beams, because these things is where the buildings start standing up on. So if we go ahead and puncture this, the risk is that the entire building can fall down. And for things like this, you'll always have structural engineers sign off on projects, or consultants who will come in and tell you that this is something you cannot touch and needs to be as it is. What are the skill sets that an interior designer needs? And these are a couple of skill sets that, of course, we will help you in sharpening or polishing. For many of you who don't have them at all, we'll be also educating you about this. So spatial planning, understanding a client's needs, a visualization of themes, selecting material, of course, being able to draw a layout, to prepare the technical drawings, collaborating with vendors to help in sourcing, preparing full cost estimates and a bill of quantities, that this is the number of things you would need on site to complete the work. So this is what we kind of do at and to help you upskill. And now I would actually want to take you ahead and show you some of the work that Akriti and Jaladi have been able to do over the last, I'd like to say 20 plus weeks, correct guys?
Yeah.
Great. So it's over to you.
Can you share that Miro board, please?
Can you see my Miro board?
You can't.
I cannot share it.
No, hang on. Must just be an issue at my end.
Okay, I'll share it.
No, I'm sharing. No, no.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can you see it now?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Jaladi.
And so we'll be starting with the initial how we started our project. And so first, they have asked us to draw some dots and lines, and we have to scribble some kind of 2D artwork, and we were thinking what we'll be doing with that. So next we went to the 3D. So now this 2D was transformed into 3D, and it has looked like amazingly it came out. But now what with that? Again, we had to learn basics of design, which is principle, which is elements and visual order. To look interior wise, it should look aesthetic, pleasant, and we can make a good composition out of that. And then we move to activity mapping.
So module 1 is all about understanding the fundamentals of interior design. And that's where we, all the assignments, all the activities that we had done were based on that. So activity mapping actually helps us in understanding how a space activities happen in a space. So that was the assignment here. Then we also learned ergonomic and anthropometric study. It is very important to study this to understand the relation between the space and human beings and how all the dimensions work for furniture as well as the space and in relation to the users. So we did a study desk here and study how we can do that, and we also did a dining table study and the space around it, and we did all the dimensioning and how a user would interact with it. Then we went on to understanding color theory. Colors play a very important role in interior spaces. So we learned that with very interesting activities of, analyzing a movie scene and how colors affect the movie scene, and, how we can relate that to the interior spaces. And then a very important one is also lighting. Lighting plays a big role in interior spaces, and we did interesting exercise for that as well, to understand how different kind of lighting and how different intensity of lighting can affect an interior space. So lastly, in this module, we learned the 3D software, and we developed an entire room based on all the learnings that we did beforehand, all the fundamentals and all the principles and all the elements of interior design that we learned. We actually used it to design this room, to actually design this area in a 3D software. So that was the end of our module 1.
So when we are coming to module 2, whatever we have learned in module 1, we'll be implying every knowledge over here. So we have clients, different clients. My client was Adarsh Shetty. He's an individual. He works as a cargo officer. His I got a space that he has given me his canvas. He asked me to paint his canvas, like however, whatever I want to do, because he has no knowledge. I was giving randomly, when I was taking out all his needs and functional needs, what is his requirements, everything I segregated. From that, I came up with the layouts. So I did his some about 4 layouts, and one was with the Vastu, and different layout has the different meanings, different analysis, the weakness, strength, everything. And later on we selected one of the layout that he liked it, that he said that that is personalized properly. Then we moved to the mood boards. I gave him 3 options in the mood board with the color option, lighting, furniture, different design patterns, everything. And we selected with the one of the pop colors that he liked, minimal and the pop color. Then I showed him how his house is going to look like. So these were the final renders what I could get with the lighting, correct furniture and everything. And it was on bang on. He liked it.
Great. We'll now quickly look at Jaladi's as well.
Okay. So my clientele for residential projects was completely opposite of Akriti's. So she had a bachelor pad going on, and I had like a young family going on. So this is the young couple. They are in their 30s, and their two kids. They are twins. So I had to design a bedroom for considering the entire family, that they are going to live there in one bedroom. So understanding a user was very important. Understanding that functional and emotional needs were very important, because that would actually give me the base to develop the layout of the room. So after doing all that analysis, I came up with 4 different layout plans, as earlier mentioned by Akriti, and we also learned a Vastu compliant plan, and out of all this 4, and going back and forward with all the layouts, we finally the client and me finally ended up choosing the layout 3. And after the layout was finalized, all the plans are done, they are okay with it, we went on to give them mood boards about how the place would look and feel. So they chose the 2 mood boards out of this 3, and we were trying to mix and match both of them to come up with the final design. Now for the final design, we gave a lot of like options for color themes and light themes before finalizing this one. So you can see that all of the fundamentals has to be that we learned in module 1 were considered before coming up with this final design. So yeah, this was the final design that we came up with.
All right, great. Also, Akriti, I'm going to jump over to your current project, if you can walk us through it. This is your commercial project.
So the commercial project is basically how we started. We have to go and look out for the workspace, because me and Jalati, we both are working on a working space. We were looking out how workspace look like, basically, what are the elements, what are the designs, how the furniture is placed. So we took all the detailings, and then we were giving the site, which is in Delhi. So we were asked to locate the circulation, how the circulation works, what are the nearby stores, what all you can figure out with the washroom, distance, everything we have to look out. And then we located where our space is, and nearby stores, what are the nearby stores, how like how far the staircase, how far the coffee shops are there. We have to find the pros and cons of our space. And then we were given our brands, and I'm working with the luxury brand, which is Forest Essential. And we have to again we have to decode the Forest Essential, like she has some other brand. So I decoded my brand, like what is the history, what is the color they're using, what kind of themes they have, then what kind of typology they have, what are their target audience, what is the voice position, everything. It's basically all of what brand is doing. According to that, we have to design our space. And I came up with this mood board, that according to whatever the what is essential is explaining, I created a mood board. And why this Forest Essential is expanding in terms of workspace. We had to explain it. What do you think the ambience will look like according to your target audience, and how you're going to make a mood of your workspace? And then we created the different layouts with the SWOT analysis. According to me, I think the second one goes best because of the circulations. We have to do some renders, like here and there we have to like jump, like what is working, what is not. And that's it. And then we are working on our call out sheets, but what kind of furnitures we are using, the description, what kind of customization we are doing. So now we're working, and now we are working on the AutoCAD. That's a software. Slowly we are moving ahead, and I think it's 3 weeks now. We're almost going to be done.
3 weeks and you're done, Akriti. So it's not 3, 3 weeks and you're finished. You graduate.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us so candidly. It is, I understand how, I just can imagine how one feels when they're sharing their work. But having said that, if there is, any questions that you'd like to ask us on how we teach, what we do, it'll be great. And Shubhangi, if you want to, moderate that for us.
I would recommend that if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A box, and then we can take it from there. Meanwhile, Rahat, this is something that I have always thought of, which this is a recurring theme in people who don't come from a design background, and then they go on to pursue a design career, that they have a constant question in the back of their heads, which is that I don't come from a design background. I don't know how to draw, how to doodle. Would this be the right course for me to pick up? What would your response be to those questions?
So, I've said it so many times that the course is designed to teach you all of this, and there is no prerequisite requirement to know how to draw, color, paint, sketch. But I would actually want probably Akriti to answer this question for us, because she's already taken part in this course and she can explain how much of it did you actually need, Akriti, as a prerequisite.
I would say that you just need to learn the basics, because if you know the basics of principle and everything, you are bang on, you can do it. So design is something you'll eventually learn with experience. With theory, you need to clear your basics. That's it. You don't need time for this.
That's great. We're getting more and more vouching, for our fundamental model.
Swapna wants to know what is the background that Akriti and Jalati come from. I think
okay, great.
Up on the discussion that we were having just right now.
Yeah. So, Jalati, would you want to first answer your background, and then we'll take it to Akriti as well?
Yeah. So I am basically a designer. I did my bachelor's in product and master's in furniture design. And now I want to do interiors, because it just makes sense for me to collab with furniture and interior and start my own practice. So that's where this course is helping me out. So yeah.
Akriti, would you?
So it is like not haywire, but I've learned most of the things. I am a BTech biotech graduate, and then I came to the field of designing. But so designing, after that I've worked with the entertainment industry, and I'm a associate production designer. I design sets and everything. So from that idea I came up, why not to design actual, not temporary houses, but yeah, actual where we can stay, because I love when I design it. I want to stay there. I thought people like my ideas. Why not to make it permanent rather than temporary? So yeah.
Great. Chandana has a very interesting question. She says, what happens to the clients, like especially after the interior design course? Chandana, with great pride, I can tell you, our colleague and learner, Akriti, has been able to convert her client, and she's actually now working on the project. It was meant to be only a project for, let's say, school or college or to upskill, but she's been able to actually convince the client to give her the project. Akriti, would you want to talk us about that as well a little bit?
Yeah, so I was being lucky in that case because he really liked my idea. Like I could get his head, whatever messy things, ideas he had it, I could put it on his canvas. And he said, go on, because I don't want to find another people because options are the basic problems. I'll get confused. So yeah, it is really great chat. It's a thing where I'm going to do my work, which I have done it, and it's in real. It is going to take a lot of work and patience. I hope that this goes best, and I'm going to share this project for sure.
Great. Anil has a question. He's saying, how is the product design, fits into interior design? And somebody has told him it's very complicated. Jaladhi, do you want to take
No,
that on?
no, it cannot be. So even if you are not from a design background, you can opt your interior design as well. You have to understand that you are going to be taught all the principles and fundamentals of a design, which is the base your base of your design. So when you have learned that, you can apply it anywhere, and that would itself make it very simple for you to design any space or any product or any furniture for that matter. So for me, it made sense for me to go into interior because I am a furniture designer and I already work with furniture, and I want to work with spaces as well. So there is nothing as such as complicated or anything like that. You just need to understand all the principles of design and fundamentals of it, and then you are good to go.
Great.
This question might be directed towards you. How do you teach a hands-on discipline like design online?
We're very lucky to have, found the right tools to teach it online. I would always say that it is not very different than actually a studio environment. We all come together and work on this platform called Miro, where wherever you are in the country, internationally, you can come, do your work, put it up. It's literally like a pin-up space. And, students go on to display their work. We have, if you would actually seen when we were sharing the Miro board, you'll have small instructor comments somewhere. You'll have peer feedback. So it for those 3 hours, it is almost like you are in a room with your peers and you're learning. So we've been able to recreate that environment online, I feel, very aptly.
Okay, Chandana is asking, is it a wise choice to study interiors in US rather than in India?
Chandana, this is a little tricky, I would like to say, because if my personal belief is wherever you want to practice is, you should study from there because you get to understand the industry, you get to understand the materials, the vendors, the costing systems of that geographical location. So I'm going to leave that up to you. But having said that, like the biggest advantage of online is you can study this from anywhere and apply it anywhere, and the principles remain same.
Right. Sai is asking, what is the qualification to learn interior design? What is
You should just want to learn it, in all honesty. There is no right answer to this. I'm sure like IIAD has prerequisites, like you need to be a school grad, a minimum of a school grad. But having said that, I think anybody who is interested, and this is for any form of design, I would say, just a keen interest is what you need. And like in our case, probably a laptop.
Yes. How do you deal with different clients and how do you target a set of audience? Somebody has asked this in the Q&A box.
So, it's very difficult to say. I just feel every client is very different. It's very rare in life you'll find two clients who will have the same requirements, same choices. If they're a returning client, let's say I've designed one home for them and I've designed one office, I'll just understand their taste or their method of working better. And I just feel the best way to deal with people is, having that humane touch, understanding what they need. Very so often as people, we cannot articulate what we need correctly. A designer needs to basically, decode the brief correctly, and you can work for anybody.
Right.
About targeting a certain audience, I just feel it's, the right people find you. This is also a career, or when you start working with people, a lot of recommendations come your way. Like, I got so much work done from somebody, why don't you try them out? So I think more than you finding people, people find you. Like, it's just the nature of our job that we've always had people find us more often than us find people.
Do you work with budget constraints? Swapna is asking, can you light upon the cost of both of your projects? There would be budget constraints, right?
Yes. So in fact, this is really interesting because Akriti's client had no dearth of money and he was ready to put all the kind of money that she wanted. But we did not showcase another few set of projects, but we've actually had like really, really complex, briefs as well. When there is a room and they're refusing to even break down an existing cabinet. So I'm talking about Sonali's project at this point in time. And it was hard because, to try and tell them it's just about breaking down something. But then I guess as a designer, we need to be more aware of consequences. So it's a battle you choose. Either you convince your client to do something the way you want to do it, or you just toe that line. So I think, but it is very important for us to have that conversation with the client where we can talk to them and try and explain to them how their quality of life will become better. So sometimes it is a little bit of, to and fro with the budget also.
So Nikunj is feeling a bit confused about the industry. They say that they sometimes feel good about the industry and sometimes they feel that this is not the right industry for them. Rahat, what would your advice be to Nikunj?
I would say we're at a very interesting stage. Like as I'm saying, we're now looking at show window displays that didn't exist 10 years from now. We are looking at pop-up stores, we're looking at design, like those aided sales design and all of that. So I wouldn't say we're a saturated market, but I think there are these new openings that are constantly cropping up. It's all about just being able to recognize those, pitch for those projects and get it. So I would say that there is a strong chance that you'll make it. You just need to understand, of course, if we need to understand a dying typology vis-a-vis a growing typology and just focus our energies in that direction. I think Azhar is here and he really helps us with our placement. So I think Azhar can help us also answer that question in terms of if we're having a hard time or is it not so complex to place our students.
Sure, thank you. I think Rahat covered it very beautifully. That it depends like what you are looking for, and currently, definitely because of the pandemic, things have changed drastically, right? So if you're not feeling good about the industry, that because you haven't seen the right side, right? Or you are just making perceptions. But definitely, the interior industry is growing up. There are a lot of companies who are currently hiring, or if you are looking for your own self, if you're starting your own practice, there are a lot of projects that are coming up. As Raj shows one, that there are a lot of pop-up stores that we can see around that is currently going on. There are a lot of retail stores coming up, if you see around, and definitely something new in terms of the e-commerce is also there. And definitely, yes, I think if you're looking for placement, or let's say if you're looking for a right career, right, and you're interested in the same, then definitely you can go ahead with this.
Thank you so much, Azhar. Jaladi, since you mentioned your work on sets and production, where can I start with to get into production design? Can you suggest places to get into production design? We can suggest places to get into interior design. It's an academy.
Yeah, I'm actually, one correction, that was Akriti, and second, I think we are still talking about interior design, so we can easily that question.
Yeah. What is the qualification for interior designer? I think we've kind of answered that, but anything else would you want to add to that, Rahat?
I think no, whatever your past learning is, you bring that to the table. And that is another beautiful way of saying why it is and, because you'll always be what you were before and you're going to be an interior designer. So, yeah.
Okay, so Nikunj has another question. Do we need to learn softwares like 3ds Max and SketchUp, or Kuhum will be sufficient?
So to be honest, we are working with Kuhum and we've been very happy with the results for us. Kuhum is also a far more newer software in the market, to be really honest. It does give you a lot of AI options, which these older softwares do not give you. So while 3ds Max and SketchUp will give you the flexibility to design furniture on your own, Kuhum will allow you to, work within the realm of space better. So I think you should try it out. I honestly personally feel like learning is never ending. So if you've mastered Kuhum, why not learn something else? Like I ended up learning Kuhum a year from now ago. So like, it's okay.
Archana has a question. How difficult is it for a doctor to get into a course like this?
We actually have a student who is a doctor in our batch too. So yeah, the only tough time she has is trying to schedule her, her OT times. But other than that, there is no difficulty whatsoever. She's doing exceptionally well again.
That's such a great insight, Rahat. Thank you. I'm still confused about starting my career in interior designing. How many years would it take to start my own business? How much scope is in this field? Azhar, would you want to take that up?
Yeah, sure. I think the kind of learnings that we are giving to our students, it's not something that starts with a basic, but definitely that gives you a wholesome idea of how to deal with the clients, or what exactly you want to give it to your clients. And definitely where you can see, if you want to start something of your own, then definitely you should firstly go and work with some company in the starting. That will give you a good idea about the sales side of it, or the business side of it as well. And then definitely you can go ahead and start your own practice.
Okay, so Swapna is asking, do you teach budgeting in your basic module, Rahat?
So our basic module is actually very fundamental. We'll not be looking at budgeting almost till the fourth module, which is part of the diploma course. The
Right.
certificate course does not deal with a lot of budgeting. We'll just be telling you, how do you procure products till the first certificate course.
All right. Aditi is asking, are communication and marketing skills just as important as the sense of styling? And do you teach how to communicate and negotiate with clients?
I would want Akriti to take this question.
See, first and foremost, you need to know what are your communication and where you need to put your guards down. And it is very basic to understand your client, what your client. So you have to decode your client. It is sometimes the client is going to be very hard on you and you don't know where to go. I have learned this with my experience. Listen on the first place, listen to your client, what he wants. Second step, decode it, and you can just showcase him like, this is what I have taken it from you and I'm showcasing to you. I think this will come with the experience. And sense of styling is also important, but that will come with experience, I would say.
So the reason I actually chose to give this to Akriti is because I felt that she was able to, communicate and negotiate very well with her client during the process. There were times when, a particular client was very stuck up on things, that he didn't want things a particular way. But I saw this girl really work hard and, push through and help him make decisions that were important for him. And I'm sure he's going to enjoy living in that home eventually.
I am digressing a bit, but just a quick reminder that I've put in a tiny Google form for this webinar. So if you could just fill that, what your experience for this webinar was like. Anyway, moving on to the questions. Anil is asking, which software would we learn in the course for rendering and CAD modeling?
So we do teach you Kuhum. We also teach you something like a ZWCAD, which is equivalent to any AutoCAD or its equivalent. You can choose to use any CAD software. CAD is, again, computer-aided drafting software. We are not hung up on the one you choose to use on your device.
Okay. Ambika is asking, how do you choose the materials with the budget and aesthetics? That goes with the aesthetics and also matches the budget.
why don't you join our course and we'll teach you there?
Yes.
It's too difficult to answer this question in a Q&A session.
Shravani is asking, how do you manage time? There comes a time when you need to decide on something and just go for it. Is it about the course? I would say just go for it. Rahat, what do you say?
I would say, okay, I'm guessing this is when should you start the course? It's never too early, never too late. That is the correct answer. The next batch, whenever it is beginning, choose to start.
Sai has a question. They're saying that they have a 5-year experience in working on wood projects, but I want to learn interior design and more about it, which is the best way to improve my knowledge.
I think you come from an auxiliary field of understanding, furniture, if you're working with wood or the raw material of it. Doing a course with us will just help you understand, how do you work? You probably have an expertise in one material. We'll be teaching you its applications within space, and probably for you, the ergonomics part will really resonate and you'll be able to apply it even to your practice.
Right. Surbhi has another question. Surbhi is asking, the concepts of color theory and lighting design are mentioned in the brochure. How much of these two important topics will be taught? Color theory and lighting.
What? So site documentation and all of this is taught to you in module 1 as well, because this is how these guys went on site. They took pictures. They've actually dimensioned their entire site out. We've missed out a lot in what we've shown you in their work, but they've actually gone ahead and measured the entire site. A design brief is given to them. 2D, 3D stages are taken. A working drawing is done in our last module, which they're currently working at understanding. Site execution as well is being taught to them towards the end. In your case also, it might happen probably a little earlier if we choose to switch around the course. But all of this, like working drawing, site execution, will happen in the diploma course, not in the certificate course.
Okay. Surbhi has another question. How well will the diploma course equip me to become a freelance designer? I think Rahat and Azhar both can share their inputs on this.
I think others should go ahead, because we've already said, we have students getting work after just like 9 weeks into the course or 10 weeks into the course. I think Akriti could have landed that project. So
Correct. And I think apart from the course, and learners also get a chance to interact with the career team. And there is a particular module which is called career development module, where we help you understanding how to showcase yourself, or how to brand yourself, how to work on your LinkedIn, how to prepare a CV, and many more things are there, which actually helps you to showcase yourself in front of anyone in the industry, right? Where you can show up your portfolio and talk to clients, and how you can get a project. So definitely, this certification actually helps you to get the project.
Okay. Rahat, do you want to add anything to that? No?
Oh,
Yes?
I just think at the end of the day, it's about how you can, I think presenting your work well is what will take you a long way. So I think it's just the zeal to, once you've done work doesn't find itself out. Once you've worked, you have to really make the effort to showcase it outside or project it outwards for it to attract more work. And I think that is a good example of how you can move forward. If you've done something, ensure it is put out there. Don't be too scared about criticism. It's a very
Publish or perish, as you once told me.
Yeah.
Does AND Academy provide a degree-based program or certification? Do you want to take that up, Rahat?
We do a certificate course, which is a 16-week, and then we have a diploma course, which is a 32-week.
Okay. Nikunj is asking, do we get to learn all the design concepts like furniture dimensions and other skills required to be an interior designer?
Jaladi, do you want to take that? I saw you nod.
Of course you would, like that. Those things are a part of interior, and I'm telling you, just join the course. You will learn a lot. You will learn every little detail that has to be that you need to know to become a practitioner and to launch your career as an interior designer. So don't worry about that.
Okay. Swapna is asking, what are the softwares taught in the program?
So I think we've done this. We use
covered.
Whom and any like CAD software. We also use Miro, which is basically an interface to just showcase work to each other. Otherwise, that's about it.
I think we can build on to that. And somebody's asked, how much difference between an online course and a proper class?
So this is a very big misconception that an online course is not a proper class. In my opinion, an online course is a lot more easier to do. And for me, I just have to shut a room and I am completely present there. So I'm saving all my travel time, being stuck in traffic. Plus, I get to learn from the comfort of home. And having a water bottle, having a meal next to me, having my snack. So I think the learning is completely there. There is, if you ask me, I have worked both in an online space and in a brick and mortar institution. For me, I see 0% difference in the value learning that takes place. Of course, if you choose to do a longer course, it'll give you deeper knowledge. But having said that, I think the learning is very equitable, both online and in a physical space.
Okay, so this is the last question that we have in the lot, which is how to get all the material knowledge before starting any project, how to decide on which materials to use.
My friend, your best friend is going to be research. I can just take you till the well, you will have to go and drink that water. So I can tell you the types of materials that are available lately in the market. You will have to go and find out how do you source them, how do you pay for that material, how can you use that material. So again, I think our learners have done a lot of research on material, especially Janadi and Akriti, both of them. They have really, really gone out, gotten quotes of how wood is bought and all of that. So it is fun.
Okay. Okay, so if you have any other questions, we would request you to put it in the Q&A box right now. Otherwise, I put a chat in the chat box. I put a link to a Google form. I request you to kindly fill it so that will help make our future webinars better, and we can align them with what you would want to listen from us. So kindly take 2 minutes out. It's a tiny form and just fill it. There is another question. Okay, Nirdesh is asking, in diploma course, we will learn all the aspects of what this industry requires.
It's a very tricky question because I'll never be able to say if you'll always know everything out there. It'll definitely give you the pulse of what the industry requires, but for me to guarantee that you'll know everything under the sun is really hard. I mean, I've been in the industry for long enough, and I very still often, I'm at places where I'm like, Acha, I didn't know this is how you can figure it out, or this is a new thing for me till today. So yeah, saturation is something I cannot guarantee.
Guarantee, yes. Okay, any other questions? Okay, there's one more, I think.
They cannot access the link, I believe you shared.
It's in the chat I have shared with everybody. Okay, let me. Are you able to see that, Rahat? No?
I can see your link and I can click on it as well. So,
Okay.
so the chat is basically a separate box.
When I click on the link, it's saying that I need permission.
Oh, okay. Just give me a moment.
I think people who are outside and should also be able to access it. That must be the glitch because I can access it.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
after completing this course, should I be able to start my own business directly? Absolutely. The way this entire thing was planned was for a very entrepreneurial typology or a gene or a DNA, I would like to say, because it does give you that confidence that you want to work for yourself. It does give you enough knowledge to go out there, pick up a small project, do it, hand it over and learn from that experience as well. So yeah, it was great. I mean, we've answered a lot of questions. This was definitely one of the more interactive webinars at our end.
Yeah, I also think so. We had a lot of questions.
31 we've answered today. It's always great to, speak to an audience that doesn't seem like a dead wall. So I'm very excited. At least I feel like we've gotten through to some of you, and we will continue to make this effort to get through to the rest of you as well.
Okay, I think the form should be accessible now.
So this is, Sapna is asking, when is the next session starting? Is there, I think we're going to be starting sometime in February. End of Feb. Of course, the best person to ask is get in touch with the admissions team, and you'll kind of have a counselor, get in touch with you. So I will definitely pass on the message.
Okay. I think the form is accessible now. So if you could just fill that quickly. And any closing remarks, Rahat, Jaladi, Akriti, anything you would like to say before we get done with this session?
Okay, Akriti, go first. You have a double A in your name. You should be used to this, by now, based on school.
Also, then I was the first bencher, but it's okay. I mean, that's a good push. In my case, I would say go for it. You'll learn a lot of things. You will get clarity, because once you start, you will get clarity. You cannot get clarity before starting. Start it. You'll get clarity. You'll get ample of thought, because me as a person, I have a lot of like designs are there. I get confused. Now I can say that, I can say, go for it. This is the one. So you'll get clarity, go for it. Understand what is it basically, what you want to do basically. That's it. I don't want to say anything. I think you should follow your things. If you like it, go for it. And that's my advice, go for it.
All right, Jaladi.
Loud and clear. Go for it. Jaladi, you would like to say something?
Okay, so how the and academic concept works is, when you want to restart your career and you want to follow your dreams. So this is it. This is the starting point where you basically, fuel your dream. And this course makes it possible. And I would also like to say that everyone at an academy has been so helpful. Rahat ma'am, especially, she would be there to answer each and every question of you. Even if you annoy her, she'll not get annoyed and she'll keep on answering you. And all the management team as well is there to support you. So I think this is a wonderful initiative done by IIAD, and anyone who wants to switch their career or who wants to gain more knowledge and start a new path for their careers, then just take this course. It's an amazing journey, and you will have a lot of fun as well, and a lot of learning is there as well. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Great. I would actually want to start by saying thank you so much for Akriti and Jaladi. They finished a very late class yesterday evening as well, and they have agreed to come on a Saturday to talk to us. It is with a lot of pride also I'm, showcasing their work. I believe pride is one of the least, potent sins, and it is just great how far they have reached. And the more people sign up, the more, there is validation for there being a great process being put in place. I'm sure I promise not to trouble other a lot, when it comes to with the helping in finding jobs and finding recommendations and all of this. So it's all going to be like that. It's a long food chain of things. And thank you, Shubhangi. You've been very patient with us today morning.
Thank you, Rahat. This webinar has been very insightful. I get to learn every day something new from the academics team. So thank you for that. And I think we have reached the end of this webinar. I, for the last time, request everyone to fill the Google form. It is accessible. It's in the chat link. With that, I bid goodbye. I'll see you next time in another webinar. Bye. It was nice seeing you everybody on a Saturday morning.